On Saturday night, the UFC was live in Atlantic City, and for the first time at Boardwalk Hall since 2004. The UFC's announced attendance for the night was 9,541 people. The main event was a matchup of two of the top lightweight fighters in the division, Edson Barboza and Kevin Lee, and the co-main event with New Jersey's own Frankie Edgar getting a rematch with Cub Swanson at featherweight. Also, several other fighters from the tri-state area fought on the card at Boardwalk Hall, and also two former UFC champions were in attendance. In the main event, Kevin Lee defeats Edson Barboza by TKO via doctor stoppage.
I'm happy with it, but never content. I'm always critical of myself. I even see some of the spots where we can clean up, but that's just part of the game. It's part of the evolution. It's what keep guys like me pushing and keep pushing forward in this sport and showing something new. So I'm happy I got in there. I got the time in. I used my experience, and I think real fighters and real fight fans really saw it, and it shone through. And I showed it. You know, I still got a lot of time in the sport.
What do you think about the crowd and the atmosphere as a whole? It's been a while since Boardwalk Hall has had a big card like this. Yeah. Did you kind of feel that buzz out there? Yeah, you know, I wanted to get the fans their money's worth too. I felt like I probably could have put them away in the second round, but again, I wanted to get that time in. I wanted to get that experience in. Every minute that I'm in there, I'm getting better. And I gave the folks their money worth. Might have took a shot in the third, you know, because of it, but hey. That's what happened when you're making the money, you feel me?
Two quick questions for you. One, I know you keep emphasizing the fact that you're a well-rounded fighter, but it can't be denied that your top game tonight was elite. And you and I talked before the fight, you know, the background of your wrestling is so important to you. Hey, just touch on that a little bit, because I think people overlook the fact, you know, that wrestling, not just for you, but for any fighter, how important it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's huge in the game. It's been that way for a long time. Every fight, you're gonna have to know how to get close and control a guy. You're gonna be able to know how to move his body. I feel I'm one of the strongest guys in this division. Edson was definitely the strongest guy that I faced in those clinches, and I still felt like I outpowered him and outworked him. The wrestling is something that I'll be able to fall back on, but you got to be able to do it all. You know, Khabib, you know, that's one of the things with Khabib. He's a good wrestler. People think he all this and all that, but you know, I don't think he can hold a candle to somebody like me, and I'm excited to go out there and prove it.
The final one for me is, last time the UFC was here in Boardwalk Hall was 2004. The guy who won the main event that night was Rich Franklin. Obviously, the guy went on to have a pretty darn good career. You know, do you feel that's a good omen for you?
Boardwalk Hall has got a long history, you know, dating back to boxing, and I feel like that's where it really shined. And tonight I was trying to show the complete evolution of combat sports. You know, you had Floyd Mayweather that fought here, Joe Louis, you know, Tommy Hearns, all these guys that were from my city that fought here, from my state. We were born the same, we were bred the same, but I wanted to show the complete game. And like you said, the wrestling is what really got it done. Against any of those guys, against any of those boxers, you put them in a real fight, and it's lights out against somebody like me. So I hope New Jersey appreciate the evolution. You know, I've been around this city for a couple of days now. They need to go ahead and step into the 21st century. So I went ahead and tried to push them through there and, you know, show them some of this Vegas style too.
Before your fight, did you get to see any of the fights on the undercard or in the stands, for that matter?
Yeah, I saw a couple. I heard somebody was throwing down in the stands. I mean, this dirty jersey for a reason. Yeah, I saw some of the fights on the undercard. My boy Justin Willis, he went out there and he did his thing. He's gonna be the future of the heavyweight division. So a couple of guys, you know, Aljamain looked real good on this card. We showing the complete game of MMA.
You might have some competition from Aljamain. He says he's going to be the next Black Panther movie, so.
Aljamain say a lot of things. I mean, hey, more power to him. I want to see us all make money and keep growing. So, look, he want to hook up, we can do our thing. I think he hobbling out of here tonight, so you never know. I might, you know, got to do it for him. Put on for the culture.
In the co-main event, Frankie Edgar of Tom's River defeats Cub Swanson by unanimous decision.
Yeah, it lived up to hype, man. It did. You know, I seen, you know, on the way in, on the way out, I've seen a lot of familiar faces. I've heard the crowd. I felt the energy, and it was all you know, all what I thought it would be.
You call fighting here a bucket list thing. I mean, obviously you can't soak that stuff in during the action, but you know, after, you know, when your kids were there, how much do you kind of soak in those moments?
Hey, this was special. Having my kids there was probably the best thing that for me. Having them run up to me after, man, that's something I'm going to remember forever. Hopefully they remember forever. And better place than in my hometown. I've been coming to Atlantic City for a long time, and seeing people compete in this building for a long time. So to be able to do that was something special.
I lost my mom to cancer as well. Obviously, losing her sucks. It's terrible. How were you able to keep the emotions in check? Were you able to sleep last night? Like, are you relieved now?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a load off my back. It wasn't easy. That's never gonna. I mean, it's never gonna be easy. I think this maybe helped me, if anything. Kind of kept my mind off it in a way. Gave me something to kind of let my energy out on. It was tough. I was traveling to Maryland and back, for 2 weeks straight. During this camp. So I would train in the morning, drive to Maryland, stay for a few hours, drive back. And finally be done with it and just fight and get a victory. It means a lot.
What do you do tonight?
I'm gonna go to my hotel room, eat some hamburgers, just chill out.
Live it up. Yeah.
That's it.
Former UFC lightweight champion and Philadelphia's own Eddie Alvarez was in Atlantic City for UFC Fight Night.
I already thought I was a good style matchup, but I wanted to go see Khabib live. Sometimes you see things on TV and you don't get a sense of speed of the other opponent or what they're really capable of until you see them live. So I went to MSG, I sat front row, and I wanted to see him live. And yes, I'm very confident in my chances against Khabib. I've seen what he does. I've seen what he's strong at. I respect it. He's a hell of a fighter. But stylistically, when you look down the division, who the good wrestlers are, I mean, come on. Look, he accepted Khabib and accepted Poirier, and I'm not, and accepted. I don't know. Everybody accepted doesn't seem like they have a wrestling defense at all. So I get that, I understand it, but I'm here, and I'm the toughest opponent. I'm the guy who, matchup-wise, you probably want to stay away from if I was Khabib, and I think most people know it.
Would you rather fight Khabib or Nate next? If you had to choose.
Khabib for sure. He's undefeated, and I feel like the story is much like one we heard before. It's a guy from Philadelphia fights an undefeated Russian that everybody thinks is indestructible. That everybody, and you know what? We can do it just like that. If he dies, he dies.
Thank you,
Eddie, if I can just ask you real quick, you mentioned about the fact you're from Philadelphia, about the fact that you look at, this year, the Eagles won the Super Bowl for the first time in their franchise history. You look at Villanova winning another championship again. How much of a savor would it be for you if you got the UFC belt back again this year?
It's starting to feel that way. Sixers are starting to come on strong. Not to mention, we're trusting the process in the Sixers, and then we have the Eagles, like you said. Philadelphia Union, the soccer team's doing a whole hell of a lot better. So, it only makes sense. I think winning is infectious, and right in the city right now we're at all-time high. The fans, the support, everything is at all-time high, and it only makes sense to bring that goal back to Philadelphia. It'd be a dream come true right now.
The last time I spoke to you was before you fought Dos Anjos, and you talked about how Frankie's fighting tonight here at UFC Atlantic City. You and Frankie, you said, bring out the best in each other, and that every time you're around each other, you talk all the time. You guys, everything you do, it brings out the best in you guys. Talk about how that relationship has helped both of you.
Look, when I was champion in another promotion, Frankie was champion in UFC. We both been doing this together for 10 years. Frankie came to Philadelphia. I promised him, hey, every time you come to Philadelphia, I'll come to New Jersey. And that's how we kind of grew that relationship. We have a competitive relationship that is a healthy competitive relationship where I push him to be his best self. He pushes me to be my best self. He inspires me to want to do better, to want to go for gold, and I think I help try to do the same for him, and it goes on and on. So I just think he's a competitor, and so am I, and it just makes for a really good friendship, a really good brotherhood, and we go in there and go after each other.
One more for you. What the guys were asking earlier about, who would you like to fight next? But I want to ask you about where you want to fight, because you can feel the energy in this building tonight. It's crazy. First time since 2004 in Boardwalk Hall. we haven't had UFC in Philadelphia for a while. How much would it mean to you to be able to be on an Atlantic City or Philadelphia card?
Look, when I first came to Atlantic City, all the people from Philadelphia, we used to rent cheese buses, put a keg on the back of the cheese bus, and we used to come down here, 700-800 deep in the same color shirt. These shirts, the same exact color shirts, and to see UFC come full circle, be back in Atlantic City, I can get chills today just thinking about it. And I spoke on it with my wife, and we both talked about it. And I love that the card is doing well here today, because it's only going to give the UFC more incentive to come back here. And whether it's here or whether it's Philadelphia, even as close as Newark, I'll be on this next card, and we'll blow the roof off this place.
On Saturday night, the UFC announced that former welterweight champion Matt Serra will be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame.
It's starting to sink in, so it's wild, man. I fought a few guys that are in there, the Hall of Fame, and some guys that are definitely gonna be in there eventually. And I was always proud that I was able to, hey man, I might not be in there, but I fought guys that are in there, and every one of them knew they were in a fight. Now I can't say that no more because I'm in there, so that's a good thing.
Did you ever think about it along the way? You're like, man, maybe I'll get in there someday.
People ask me about, like, oh, you think you'll be in the Hall of Fame? And I always said that's not my. I never gave it much thought because it was never my decision. People thought I belonged in there, but it doesn't suck. It's exciting. It's good. We're gonna go to Vegas. I have the family out there, and it'll be a nice thing.
There's so many aspects of your career to remember, and I wonder, obviously the thing people talk about when they talk about you immediately is the win over George St. Pierre. But there's more to it than that, right? Both before that and after. So, do you want people to remember or think about you for something different? Are you okay that if that's the moment they go to?
I'm totally fine with that. That was my Rocky movie. I'm a big fan of Rocky, and I felt like I lived that movie. Except Rocky 2 ended up better than my second fight with GSP. But listen, it's not always the wins that you want to even be remembered for. Right at this place, at the Boardwalk Hall, I lost to Caro Parisi in 2006 or whatever it was. 2004. Thank you, bro. He beat me good that one. I don't remember the date. But it was here. And, in that fight, I learned a lot about myself because there was a fight where I got winded, fight I almost won, a fight during it. I wanted to get out of there, but I never did get out of there. I never let myself quit. So stuff like that I'm proud of.
How cool is it now? Finally, the UFC is in New York. The UFC's back in Atlantic City. Obviously saves on the travel for you, but it's pretty cool, right?
No, it's very cool with all these. Like again, a couple weeks ago we were in Brooklyn for the Barclays Center. I drove home the same night. Right now we're a few hours away from Long Island, out here in AC. I literally, it's my daughter Maria's birthday today. I want to give her a shout out. She's 7, and literally, my two daughters had solo dance competition yesterday in Long Island. I was able to make both their. If this was anywhere else, I can't do this. So I was able to make both their dance competitions. They killed it, Serra style. And then I got here midnight last night. So. It's good. It's really nice to be able to have the MMA here, both in New York and New Jersey and whatnot. It's great, man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. We made it.
At bantamweight, Aljamain Sterling defeats Brett Johns via unanimous decision.
Feel good, man. Back to my old ways, I should say. Dominant wrestling, I think. I could have capitalized a little bit better and pushing the pace, but we're a little slippery, and I didn't want to overcommit and fall off the top. I was like, let's be a little more calculated. The finish will come if it's there. There's a couple of key moments where I was like, man, if I just adjusted a little bit, I probably could have gotten him out of there. Especially in that third round when I got on top and I threw the hook in and I had the one wrist. I was like, if I just did this a little bit earlier, I could have gotten the finish. I haven't had a finish since 2015 December, man, Johnny Eduardo. So I got to get back to that. That's what fans want to see, and those are dominant performances because that's what's going to get you the bigger checks and the big fights, man. That's what I'm here for. I want to fight the best guys, and I want to prove that I can be and I will be a UFC champion.
Atlantic City's been kind of starving for a card like this for a while, especially at Boardwalk Hall.
Great card, man.
What do you think about the atmosphere out there, the fans? Some brawls in the stands tonight, but I guess everybody's into it, right?
I think that guy got the finish, and I didn't. So I was sitting there cheering for him. That was I saw him hit a nice straight right, dropped the guy, and jumped on top of him for the ground and pound. I think I saw Herb Dean in there pull him off. But it was a great card, man. Up from bottom all the way to the top, and I think there was some spectacular fights, some back and forth action, and AC hasn't had a fight like this in a while, New Jersey. So I'm just happy to be a part of it. Right now is the Funk Master time.
You mentioned the mental game, the mental side of things, but you've always been a guy who's had a strong mindset. You've always had a tough mentality. So what are some of the things that a guy like Matt Serra and Luongo have helped you with to help you take all that's in your mind and bring it out of you?
Just the simple things they say. Those little key trigger words like believe in yourself or let it go. Have some fun in there. Let some of your stuff go. You do what you do in the room, you're going to shine. This is your time. If people can see what you do, man, that's really it. Just go out there and show the world who you are. And that's what he said to me a couple times in between rounds. Show the world who you are, Aljo. In the back room while we're warming up, while we're going out there, let them know what you're capable of doing. I think I went out there and I did that. Man, I just wish I got the finish. I think I started really coming on strong in that last 20, 30 seconds when I started opening up with that ground and pound. Even the second round, I was opening up some ground and pound against the cage and just slipped away from me, man. But a couple of things, tweak. Brett wasn't trying to get out of there. He was, tough dude, going to be in there to fight the entire time. So hats off to him because I was throwing some vicious shots, man. Those are some hard shots I was trying to take his head off with. But I love those guys, man. Serra Luongo, baby.
Thanks, man.
Honda forever. I never freeze.
In a middleweight bout, former World Series of Fighting champion David Branch defeats Thiago Santos via knockout.
We planned on taking him down, obviously, because that's where his weakness is. But, I have such a reputation for doing that guys are going to be sticking arms out, and it's hard to, just try to grapple guys. They push you off, you get hit and stuff like that, so it'll take down your energy meter a little bit. But I can strike, and I let everybody know that I can do that. I think my last fight, I hopefully let everybody before I lost, in this one, put a staple on it. I got hands.
And where do you feel like you go from here? I mean, as you said, you had a long layoff because of the canceled fight. I mean, you feel like you need to make up some time, you need to stay busy to keep the rhythm. What do you feel like the next move is?
I'd like to stay busy. I'm going to take a little bit of time off because I'm moving. I just had my son, so I'm going to enjoy him for a little bit, and I'm going to be right back to training again as soon as I get, my leg is all better. And I'd like to climb, if the UFC deems it fit for me to be able to do so, that's what I'd like to do.
You've been in this building in Atlantic City before as well, in the previous promotion where you held 2 belts in 2 different weight classes consecutively, and now you're back in the UFC. Kind of feel a little full circle for you. You were here on your way to getting those titles, and now you're back in Atlantic City, kind of taking that next step up the rankings.
Yeah, that stuff that I did in the past, that stuff is done, and now I'm taking it from like a new standpoint, like I'm fresh, I'm brand new, and I need to do all these things over again. I can't just keep talking about like stuff that I did from the past, and yes, it feels like everything came full circle, but now I feel like I have to make a new legacy in the UFC. It's like this is a new place, and those things that I did back there are done, and they were good. But now I want to do some big things here, and I'm just taking it one step at a time.
You mentioned you want to stay busy. Is there like a number in your mind or like a timetable that you want to stay busy with? Because a lot of guys, they throw out numbers like 2 or 3 a year or X number of months. Is there a number that you're really comfortable with?
Absolutely. 3 times for me is good because I'm 36. I have a gym that I'm running, and I have a family active. I think that's pretty active for a fighter to do 3 times a year. So hopefully the UFC seems fit for me to be able to get 2 more fights this year.
How has your life changed since now that you have a family? Obviously, as a fighter, when you first started, it was different. Now you're 36 years old. Life's a little different for you. So how has having a family and having a gym, how has all that changed who you are?
I mean, you're more of a role model. You got to watch how you behave. Those things make waves. There's a lot of little children and a lot of young guys and young women that look up to the fighters and stuff like that. So I just want to set a good example. You have so many fighters out here trying to just be something that they're not, and I just want to show them that you can just be human, and you can just be who you are, and love it or hate it. It's just more genuine, and just be humble. That's it. We're all out here trying to feed our families and do the same thing. So it's no need to get off the hinge.
You talked this week about not having the Hollywood side or whatever.
Nah, man.
I wonder, so did somebody pull you aside and tell you, or did you look in the mirror with the family? I mean, what happened?
Self-reflection, man, did that, self-reflection,
At light heavyweight, Corey Anderson defeats Patrick Cummings by unanimous decision.
The crowd was really loud for you tonight. A lot of energy in the building, especially for the beginning of the night. How did it feel hearing your name constantly chanted throughout the night?
Felt like I was at home. With my family, I'm out here in this arena, my brothers, my sisters, my cousins, my friends, everybody out there supporting me, and to do it for them, that means the world, because now we're going to go party and have a good time.
You obviously were the stronger, more physical guy tonight. You know, it's not every time that you can go into the octagon and you can throw a guy around like that. You know, guys say that they can stop takedowns, but someone like you showed that you can take anybody down. You know, how does it feel to be able to do that time and time again to a guy?
I mean, like you said, people say they can, but it's level. You know, everybody say, "Oh, you can't take me down. Or you can't outpunch me." This and this. But I know what I do in the gym. I know every person that's came to the gym, whether I had a 2-time national champ come train with me, he got taken down. I stopped his takedowns. I know what I'm capable of. So to go out there, all I did was show I knew what I already knew. Now it's time for the world to know. Quit looking past him and say, "Oh, he's just a one-trick pony," and you can time his shots and stop him, because it's a lie.
You mentioned about going on your honeymoon soon. So after the honeymoon's done, you know, when do you want to get back in the octagon?
All of May, I'm gone. I can tell you that. All of May, my whole May is booked. Literally, I'm home. I think one day I come back from the honeymoon, and I'm going to Brazil to corner Carl Roberson in Rio at 224. When I get back from there, I'm going on a hunting trip. No, I get back from that, me and my father going black bear hunting in Canada. I get back June 2nd, and after that, I'm in the gym. Whatever I lead and text me or message me at that point, whoever they say, like I said, it could be Misha Krashenov or one of my opponents I lost to, run it back, whoever it is, I'm ready to go whenever it is. I never say no. I talk to my coaches, we game plan. It's time to go.
Corey, thanks a lot. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.